then I take the different peaks and see what are the distances, and therefore have another indication for the quality of the current measured blob. This is actually the created blob. This is just some kind of binarization of this currently, and therefore it is selected which target to track. If there would be any other red object, you could sure as hell see that there's another blob in here, but in general it just keeps to the best blob depending on the previous image. There still need to be done some delays that it doesn't switch the target if one is lost and so on, but this is the general idea, and I'm pretty happy about it.
So tell me a little bit about the setup. What is the resolution of this camera?
The camera resolution itself that I'm currently using here is only 160 by 120.
Yeah, I mean, because you don't need, but what is coming out is probably more.
The camera can do up to 1000 anything. But the basic idea is just not to do some kind of footage with this camera, only to use this camera for the tracking, and therefore take another there. For example, Lutz has a small helmet cam he usually takes for skiing, to mount this beside it just to push the button and let it record, and only use the current mount to adjust on the skier. So this camera should only be used for tracking purpose. I only implemented that you can save this video stream, of course, just for some kind of evaluation. But
okay, so you have a, let's say, low resolution unit. How many frames per second?
The camera itself supports up to 90 frames. It says I never reached it, but the API used with OpenCV only supports 30 frames per second. And the current.
But do you track 30 frames per second also?
Currently, it's tracking 30 frames. Yeah. But as there are more blobs or more complex data, this drops a little bit below it. I think even with complex stuff, it should be around about 25 frames per second. And I think if I get some kind of distance measure and some kind of motion prediction, I think about using a Kalman filter to do some kind of prediction. I think this will deliver pretty good results. I mean, currently I can show you a problem because when I'm...
So what happens if you come back behind me?
This happens.
Okay, there is a close now, let me see.
It basically just loses the object until he finds it again. But as I said, this is not a very intelligent solution currently, because when it loses the object, it picks the next best object there is. So this means if there's currently any other red object in the image, you follow the wrong object. But I mean,
so you need some sort of spatial coherence.
What do you mean by spatial coherence?
Well, you know, when you detect another one, if this one is very far from it, you say
exactly.
you disqualify it. Right?
It's really just some kind of distance measure currently.
Yeah.
But I still need to.
Can you move? Go somewhere.
Okay.
I just wanted to completely use the camera looking at
Yeah, now he's completely
Now
lost.
what happens?
Basically, idea for just some kind of process.
You have to move around until you find it.
The idea is to now, I mean, I didn't implement it yet, is to count really some kind of frames, and let's say after 1 or 2 seconds to give some kind of audio signal, and then it returns to the front position, gives some kind of audio signal, look at the target or something, and there we are.
Well, the other possibility is just to pan over all the area to try to find it. Right?
The point is when you're panning in an area where you don't know anything about the background, it's a bit more likely that you find some things in the background that have similar color but don't really belong to the object you wanted to track. Because basically I think in the future it will really be some kind of distance measure in the histogram, and this means also if it's not the original object, it will be tracked if it's close to the original color.
So the type of feedback that you give to the motor is what, panning?
Yeah, it's just 2 angles I deliver.
Just this angle and this.
Yeah, that's it.
No zoom.
There's currently no zoom because I don't have a zoom camera.
You don't have a zoom. All right.
And it's pretty hard to get cameras that are lightweight, high frames, and cheap with a zoom functionality. Therefore, this is not a deal currently. But I would think what might this situation a lot is a kind of gyroscope when I add it to the helmet, so I can counter-calculate my own motion. Because can you switch it on a bit?
Sure. switch it on?
Because apparently when I'm moving slowly, it is not big a deal, it keeps on the target. When the target itself moves, the angle movement is not that big. But when I'm moving my head fast, sooner or later it is lost. Yeah, but if I have a gyro, I can counteract the own movement and say, first return to the original position and then start tracking from this position.
Yeah, but is the response of the motor fast enough to do this? So if you do this...
Well, it won't be completely fast enough, but you can track update every second where your original position must have been and get closer to it. I mean, currently the motors are top speed, but the problem is not that the motors aren't fast enough, the problem is that the tracking fails at some point. So this would be good. That's it so far. Pretty good. Okay.